We're live. All right. I'm here. I'm Irving Twin here with my champion, my biggest fan, Justicar. Justicar L. How you doing, man?
I'm doing really well. Knackered. It's late night, early morning. So,
Yes,
yeah,
yes, because you're on the other side of the world. Where exactly are you?
I'm in the Netherlands. So,
Beautiful. Uh, it, are, is it winter there yet?
it's absolutely frigid. I've got my heaters on and I am loath to leave the comfort of my home.
Yeah. Okay. uh, and yeah, we were talking just a moment before here that you were in law school for a little bit, and that didn't work out for you. But because you left law school, you met your girlfriend.
Yes, it was actually really well. It was a fantastic turn of events, I find. Like,
No
fortune smiled
doubt.
on me.
Mm.
And it's also been just a lot better for my mental space leaving law school and actually getting good night's sleep for once.
Yeah, I
Because,
believe a lot of pressure, right?
yeah, I was going to bed at 3 in the morning and waking up at 6 to start studying again until 3 in the morning. So, lovely time.
Mm. I have an IRL friend that went through the process of studying for what we call in Canada the LSAT, the test you have to take to get into law school. And it was like 6 months of hell. He was like, I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't even want to be a lawyer.
Oh, God, I'm so lucky I didn't have to do that test. I just got accepted to university
Oh,
and
wow.
could just start here. So that was pretty easy for me. Then again,
Different systems, right?
exactly. I think it's a bit different between Europe and um, your side of the world, North
Canada.
America,
Yeah.
Canada.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, we were bantering pretty well there. And now that we're live, yeah, now I'm the one that's freezing up and I've got no more questions.
Yeah, okay. I'm also, like I said, I'm completely new to this, so I'm a bit overwhelmed right now.
No,
And
yeah, no, it's just two dudes chatting and four people watching. And don't worry, they're chatting amongst themselves in the chat. It's fine.
yeah, I see that.
Uh, yeah, I wanted to say like thank you for the support that I got from you the whole time, basically, that it was always been so bloody encouraging. And I'm sure you remember this. You had said one of the nicest things anyone's ever said to me on the internet. I can't remember which video it was, but I remember you commented something like, it's come to the point that you're more excited when I drop a new video than, say, Computing Forever or Sargon of Akkad.
Oh,
And
yes, definitely.
I screenshotted that, posted it on mine's, all caps, suck it, Carl.
Yeah, I think I even actually upvoted that.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I was getting a bit, I don't know, disappointed with the way they were presenting content. I mean, everyone's biased to an extent, but
Hmm.
with them not being open for discussion, I just got a bit disappointed by them. And
Right.
I don't know, you gave a really unique twist. I mean, no one speaks about Canada. I mean, I learned more about Canada in the year watching you than ever before. So it was really an eye opener there. So definitely, I love watching
Oh,
your videos. Your opinions are absolutely fantastic.
well, thank you. That's yeah, again, like I that's you don't know how encouraging that is to me. It's you're literally one of the reasons that I keep going.
Well, I'm really glad to hear that, and I'm sorry that I dropped off the internet for about 6 months, 9 months, something like that.
Yeah, it was a huge amount of time where I was actually worried about you. Like what was going on there?
Well, I'd stopped law school and I went back home for a few months. Back home being in Southern Africa.
Hmm.
But given I grew up there. I wasn't born there. I was born in Europe. But I grew up there and I went home because I didn't have much to do. And here in the Netherlands, you need Dutch to get a job. And
Hmm.
my Dutch so far is an absolute mess, so I couldn't get one.
Don't worry, that's not your fault. I'm given to understand that the Dutch language is an absolute mess.
Oh, absolutely, but it's also a really nice mess to listen to.
Right. Yes.
But so I went home. I helped out at a few places that I was closely connected with at home,
Mhm.
and their internet is just really bad. I mean, I grew up with being able to download things at 35 kilobytes per second. Um,
Oh,
in 2008, we still had dial-up modem for a while.
beautiful.
so so
Yeah,
yeah,
because I remember you had mentioned before you dropped off that like you were going home and things aren't exactly safe there.
well, that was more South Africa. I live a bit
Yeah.
to the north of South Africa, but yeah, I circumvented that problem by not going there often.
Right.
Beautiful
Right.
country, but my friends that are studying there, they go to other universities, like friends at other universities, to get away from when there's protests happening.
Mm,
And especially last year was really bad in South Africa with protests. This year was pretty chilled, luckily. But I mean, they closed down University of Cape Town last year and this year over exams again.
really?
So yeah, so people really aren't getting their degrees because people are protesting, throwing bricks, burning buses, and
Jeez. Like, see, I don't know any of the specifics. I only know the vague South Africa's not so great.
yeah, that's also the political situation,
Yeah.
which I get worked up about very easily, because young, opinionated, has a large mouth, bigger than his own brain. So,
Mm, yeah, I know the problem.
and yeah, I try to keep myself in general parlance rather out of politics because I will usually end up irritating some people.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. That's like when I go to a party with certain family members, they'll be like, "And you, no politics." Okay, okay. I won't say nothing. I won't and I find myself leaving a group of people because they said something, and I'm just like, "Ah," and I have to just walk away, otherwise I'm going to say something.
I mean, look, well, I like to consider myself a conservative, um, classical conservative more than anything else. And my family is socialist, so it's really lovely at family gatherings being the
Mm,
only one sitting there thinking, "Well, I disagree with you guys, but I can't say anything for fear of getting lynched." Um,
right, yeah. I mean, in my family, I notice most people are simply apolitical, that they're not really paying attention, but if you talk to them, they're like basically as left-leaning a conservative as you could be and still
oh,
be a conservative, right?
yeah,
If that, yeah. Like left of center with a lot of traditional beliefs, right?
yeah, that's that. My family's a bit further left than that still in
Mm.
some cases.
Yeah, yeah, but it's the general yeah, if I go somewhere social IRL, there's yeah, I can cause more trouble than I'm worth if I'm not careful. So if I want to get invited back to parties, I got to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, I have a problem of not being able to do that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. How old are you, if I may ask?
I'm 20 years old, so
20. Yeah, see,
yes.
I'm 35. You learn more impulse control over the next 10 years. You'll figure it out.
Yeah, and I do believe you there, and I also just think that at the moment I'm having a bit of a hard time. I'm now doing a Bachelor of Arts, so I'm very much surrounded by
Mm,
socialists and leftists, and so sometimes I feel the need to impose good old-fashioned values on the young generation,
yeah.
um, which I'm part of, but I just
See, but
sometimes have to.
I was just thinking at 20, are you not part of the post millennials?
No, actually, I'm being born 97, so millennials I think are from 97 actually onwards. So I think I just
No.
fall in the bracket.
I thought it was
Um,
kids born like late 80s and early 90s where they were, getting into their double-digit years around the millennium. And those are the
well,
ones that are out protesting that everyone's racist and sexist and homophobic and voting for Hillary Clinton. And it's like the 14 to 20-year-olds now that are all like, hey, hold the fucking phone. No?
uh,
I
well,
mean, you're
I don't
you're
know.
among that group of people saying hold the fucking phone, right?
Yes, but most people in my age demographic are the ones that said that were supporting Hillary. I've got two friends that moved from where I grew up to the US for studies and got really politically involved against Trump.
Wow.
So I'm not really sure where we fall. I think generation, what are we calling it, Z, the generation born after 2000, is a
Hmm.
generation of the millennials.
Okay.
But I'm
All right.
not quite sure there.
Well, still.
Yeah, I'm. And I don't know. I haven't found many like-minded people my age. Then again, I don't get myself out enough. I prefer spending my time inside, catching up on my Irving twin and all that.
Well, thank you for that, because yeah, you're my most consistent viewer, and I really appreciate it.
I think I've watched every single of your videos. To be honest,
Oh
I
my
missed
god.
one or two, I think, but I've watched all of them.
See, now that's like I actually now I find it a little bit embarrassing for you.
I don't know. I like hearing your ideas and what you're thinking about things because it's a nice twist on not hearing the same old story again and again.
Well, see, one of the things that I noticed was even the bigger Canadian internet personalities didn't really talk much about Canada except for like the Rebel. You know what I mean? Like Armored Skeptic, getting him to talk about Canada is like pulling teeth sometimes. And there's Logic. I don't know if you're familiar with him as a YouTuber. Incredible thought process, breaks everything down, and yeah, rarely brings up Canada specifically. And yeah,
Well, that's an absolute shame because, especially a country like Canada, that can be studied seen by different people in different lights as the counterbalance to Trump's crazy regime or as a state that's going tits up. Excuse my French. Well, I don't know. It's an interesting country and definitely a country that should be discussed more in common parlance because it still does have clout.
a surprising amount of clout uh, for its small population.
Oh,
It's
definitely.
it, sorry.
Oh, definitely. I mean, you guys also immigration-wise for people that want to move there legally and not via asylum.
Hmm.
Um, it's really difficult to get in without a bachelor's.
Unless you're from somewhere in the Middle East, and then it's a lot easier.
Yes. Apparently, I'm getting funky audio.
Yeah, a little bit. You're in and out, but because it's been in and out, I've just been rolling with it, and we can still hear you.
Okay, fantastic.
And Bullrock saying he's a Cylon infiltrating Nordic academia. Uh, but yeah, no, it's fine. We can hear you.
My mic is generally good. I have problems with the Hangouts application sometimes. Um,
Right. Yeah,
I,
everyone does. It's Google.
yeah, I have nothing better at the moment. So
That's what it is, right?
yeah.
Uh, oh, but I was thinking something and I lost it. Something Canada. Yeah, and I mean, like, we get a lot of crap, and we are in a weird place federally right now, obviously. But I mean, even like, is it Dave Cullen who's referred to us as the canary in the coal mine, more so than individual European states? If something's happening in Canada, then you know it's really gone wrong. It's crossed to the pond, you know?
Yeah, I understand, and it does make it strange a lot of sense.
Mm. And yeah, like again, unless it, people don't generally focus on, at least the people in this, I don't know what to call it. Oh, I don't know if you heard this, that I refer to myself and some of the people that I'm involved with online here as the B team. That there's the
Yeah.
A team of internet shitlords and we're the B team. Yeah, the whole B team is American,
Okay.
right? I'm the only Canadian, and so everyone's got their opinions, and I just figured, yeah, if no one else is doing it, why not scream into the abyss a little bit?
Might as well be an angry drunk Canadian.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm. So, what are you studying now?
I'm doing European studies, which, well, focuses on European integration and the European Union, but politically, historically, with economics and everything mixed in. It's a degree that just does everything while preparing me for, while doing a master's. I can't really do much with a bachelor's degree.
Right, right. And why do you have some sort of aim on like a political career with something like that?
Well, politics is always an option. I've actually considered more times than I care to admit.
Hmm.
Um, but I really think that I'm more looking into something to do with history at the moment. Simply preservation of culture is really important, and the way Europe and the world is going at the moment, I think we need more people to curate that kind of stuff.
See, and what I'm thinking on that is that preservation of culture is actually a political position at this point for some stupid reason. And yeah, just aim, make that aim. Yeah, you might not have any choice but to engage politically, not necessarily run for office or anything like that, but
I
you
don't
know,
think I'm quite enough of a scumbag to do that.
well, not yet. You're 20 years old and you don't have a master's.
Point taken. That might still change.
No, but you know what I mean. That like just look at the what's her name, Lindsay Shepherd, a 22-year-old TA who's world famous now.
Yeah.
Right. For saying, for not even saying a thing, for showing somebody else saying a thing. She's like she's at the forefront of this political idea, whether she likes it or not. And just
Oh, of course. Yeah.
be prepared because you never know if you know you might find yourself in the suck.
Yeah, of course. The thing is, I'm also, well, I don't try to, but I am cautious about what I put out on the internet, of course.
Mm.
Because you can never be too sure what gets misconstrued, what gets taken out, which is one of the reasons I actually don't post actively on Minds, for instance.
Right, right.
But definitely, I am planning to be more active when I have a bit more time. Well, during holidays, pretty much.
Mm. And this is actually the busiest time of year for me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where you work. I don't know what makes it busier, but it really does depend on what positions you fill. As a student, you get holidays nice and often. You're lucky.
Mm. Well, I'll tell you this: I'm not a student, so
Like you said, it's the busiest time of year for you.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, like I mean, I hope you do something with that because European history and culture is definitely in a rocky position, and it needs, yeah, Bullrock is saying Gen Z. It needs, yeah, millennials who haven't drank the Kool-Aid, and the Gen Z to stand up and take care of it, make sure it's not just disappearing into the background of time.
Definitely, and the main problem is that the minority often isn't vocal enough.
Mm.
politically. I mean, if you look at the violent minorities in, let's say, Islam, the quoted violent minorities, they are plenty loud enough. So
Yeah, yeah.
one never quite knows what one can, how much influence a small group of people can actually make.
Well, I can't remember where I heard this, but what I heard was 3% of a population has to be working together towards something. And it doesn't matter if the 97% don't want it. If they don't actively move against this 3%, the 3% will get it done.
Oh yeah, definitely. The 3%, yeah, it should definitely be enough. I agree with you. I saw something on Minds. I don't know how factually correct it is because I was too lazy to check it. But it said 5% of Germans were Nazis. 7 to 10% of Muslims are extremists, according to government organizations. I mean, 5% Germans being Nazis already killed 6 million people.
Yeah.
Definitely, a small piece can definitely define the population.
Mm-hmm. And I can't help but think of that poem that I can never remember the entirety of, but basically they came for this group of people and I said nothing.
Oh yes.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, 3%. And they go after a smaller group and a smaller group and a smaller until there's nobody left, right? And everyone's too shit scared to do anything about it.
Or things it simply doesn't concern them.
Yeah. Yeah. And when it does concern them, it's too late. You know, and
Exactly.
that's I'm finding that, say, in the US, right? They Because the Constitution is something they basically hold sacred, that things like the First Amendment, freedom of speech, and the Second Amendment, their gun rights, right? People like will fight for them fervently, and so you never end up with that. Oh, no one really cares. Like in Canada, when we passed hate speech laws, this is already 5 or 6 years ago. Nobody even noticed. Like it just seemed like such a like, well, who the hell would do anything like that anyway? Who cares? And it went through, and then looking back at it and actually looking through the legislation, it's like, my God, this is so ridiculously vague that basically saying like, I don't want to have sex with a guy who did gay porn, like that could be considered hate speech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The laying of one idea simply in a court of law and government is not only for once, it is forever, and it will be built on. I mean, if you look at, I recently looked into Germany's hate speech laws, and it's absolutely ridiculous. They're forcing companies like Facebook and Twitter to monitor quote unquote hate speech and take the sites down. And in case it's a certain brand of hate speech, also report it to the local authorities. Exactly. Germany is even worse about that.
Mm.
It's And of course, no one thinks that it will affect them, but if it's vague, then anything can affect you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, with Germany, am I mistaken in thinking that it was in Germany that they actually had like door crashing over internet posts?
Yes, it actually did happen. The media even went after a few people. Yes, they blurred their faces out, but still caught them outside their home and started asking them intrusive questions about their internet presence and why they posted X and why they said Y. And so in Germany, it's definitely a lot more intrusive than I think anyone looks at. It's really something that can happen anywhere if you start passing hate speech laws.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like, well, I mean, just look at the UK. That Count Dankula. Well, this is Scotland. I mean, Count Dankula. You know of Count Dankula, who taught his girlfriend's pug to do the Nazi salute.
Oh yes, I
Yeah,
saw that.
yeah. He's still going through the courts right now. I think something he's getting an update soon. And my man Goodfella, I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's bloody hilarious, like harsh as all hell, but bloody hilarious. They went to his house to arrest him over a tweet. Yeah, like, and this isn't Germany. This isn't Sweden. This is in the UK, and I can't imagine that it's not going to begin happening here.
Yeah, no, I'll just honestly say when I look to Europe, I see Europe, the future of Europe, being in Central and Eastern Europe, and by that I mean Visegrad 4 and further east. That is really where European culture will stay dominant, because everything else is just, well, Switzerland maybe, but everything else is pretty much just giving up.
Yeah, like, I mean, I've been making this joke that whoever thought that the defenders of Western culture would be the Polish and the French Canadians, who seem to be the most hardcore about this.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the Polish have always been the defenders of Europe when the rest of us couldn't get our heads out of our arses. Excuse my language.
That's probably why they got steamrolled so often, right?
I've actually just finished writing a paper for university on state building in Poland. I'm telling you, they steamrolled so many people in their history. It's
I don't
a common
doubt it,
trend as well.
But yeah, but when it comes down to it, it's because they're receiving the brunt of the attack, right?
Oh, definitely.
And yeah, like, I mean, it's just it's kind of funny that all the obviously, racism. When I was a kid, racism was a way of bonding with other people, right?
Okay.
That it's like, oh yeah, stupid Polak, fucking wop, and then you're friends after that, right? Like that was it. That was the extent of the racism, and like, the jokes exist, right? And yeah, it's like, wow, joke all you want, because those motherfuckers are badass.
No, exactly. That's what I mean. And I mean, look, I mean, coming from a bit of a different background, racist, quote unquote racist, jokes can't, like, I have to admit, can't always be acceptable, but it definitely is a way to bond. I mean, which guy hasn't called their friends cunt at least once in their life? It is an
Yeah.
absolutely normal thing. Again, excuse my language. I don't like swearing. But
I love it. No, go on.
Yeah. No, it's an absolutely normal thing. We shouldn't take offense at words. We should take offense at actions. Just like we should judge people by their actions, not their words.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because in the end, you can bluster all you like. You can make as many apology tours as you want around the world. You can say that you're against racism as much as you like, or that you're fighting for equality, unless you actually bloody do it and work for change and not just shout for it. Your words are worth less than one person that actually gets up and does something.
Absolutely. And yeah, like, we have a bunch of the what do they like to call them? The tolerant social justice people who, will just bully the shit out of people.
Oh, that brand luckily hasn't quite reached Europe yet. I think they're having trouble crossing the pond.
Oh, good, because at less so. I mean, they did have Antifa had like a protest in Quebec City, just off the rails. Lighting. Nobody knows what they have against garbage bins, but they love to set garbage, like, just hate garbage bins, and they set them on fire and try and throw them down the street and stuff. And yeah, like, you obviously, I'm sure you're familiar with the multiple Berkeley events where they beat a guy half to death in the middle of the street.
Extremely familiar, yes.
Yeah. And well, no, which city in Germany did they have a fit where there was like thousands of people in the streets, and they were trying to hunt down like the likes of Tim Pool and Lawrence Southern, and they did attack a few people and were burning the city?
Oh, I'm really not sure. I remember the G20 summit, I think it was. That
Yeah,
was in
yeah,
Hamburg, I think. I'm not sure where it was. But
yeah.
yeah,
It was Hamburg. Yeah.
they actually deployed water cannons, which isn't a common sight in Germany.
Mm,
Um, and it's just absolutely bonkers that kind of thing is acceptable in a what we like to imagine is civilized society.
yeah.
And coming back to the garbage can, I think it's because they see the garbage can just like their iPhones and their cars and everything as bourgeoisie propaganda. Um, so I don't quite know their reasoning because Antifa is, I think, the most brain dead movement I've seen in a long time.
Mm,
And I grew up with the Struggle Kids and ANC Youth League saying kill all whites and Zimbabwe being literally a border crossing away from me. Um,
wow.
so I've seen a lot of stupid shit in that um,
I believe it.
regard.
It's just, yeah, it's just incredible how, what's the word? How, like, it's becoming cliche now to talk about Orwell in 1984, but it's like doublethink exists. Like this
Mm,
whole, I a couple of people I follow online will say the "it's okay when we do it" idea.
oh God.
Yeah.
I mean, look, news speak exists. We all use buzzwords.
Mm.
We're all dumbing down a language that in 20 to 50 years we won't be able to express in an original thought anymore. Taking that from paraphrasing from Orwell there. That that's the point of us dumbing down our language.
Mm.
That we can only speak like as the government wants us to speak.
Yeah, and that's I believe I've heard Jordan Peterson talking about this, that if you do change the things you say often enough, you do end up changing what you think.
Oh,
Right.
definitely.
Yeah, like so it's one thing if you say I don't want to say, like, personally I don't use the word nigger. Like I'll use it in context as I just have, but I made a conscious choice not to use it anymore, and eventually it just sort of drops off my vernacular. And that's fine. I think that's totally okay to do it if you choose to do it, but to have somebody else drilling it into you over and over again, it's like brainwashing.
The government mandates law, it does not mandate thought. As soon as government presumes to mandate what a people can do and think, rather than what is best for the nation and what is best for the people of the nation, they are overstepping their bounds and deserve to be overthrown.
Mm,
I I'm not for revolution in any sense of the word because I grew up in and around countries that gained independence through violent and one country peaceful revolution, where civil wars raged in Angola, for instance, and the effects are still felt today. I'm definitely not a fan of revolution, but if the government oversteps its boundaries, one must take radical action and one must be allowed to take radical action.
well, in the United States, radical action was voting Trump, right? And people are still mad about it. Like it's insane. It's yeah, and that's like, I mean, that's uh does Denmark or your home country, do they have anything like the United States' enshrined constitution and the enshrined freedom of speech?
Well, I'm born in Germany, so yes, yes, they have a constitution, but I'm not sure. I didn't really read that. I know the country where I grew up. We do have enshrined freedom of speech, but there is
Good.
also nothing going on again about hate speech because that is. I mean, I can tell you from the most recent election, there was in South Africa the EFF under the lovely gentleman Julius Malema, which say they want to redistribute all the land to the blacks and Also, all publicly traded companies must give 51% of stocks to the mine workers and the workers that work in the ground that grow the company, because I don't know, that's their main campaign thing. They marched on the JSX, Johannesburg Stock Exchange. That really does happen, but it's racism and what in the West is considered hate speech happens so much there on a day-to-day basis. I don't think most people care about it, to be very honest.
Mm. No, because I'm under the impression that there are many European countries that don't have, a freedom of speech, or only have the illusion of freedom of speech. Like Canada's a nation that has the illusion of freedom of speech. All of our rights are actually an illusion. In our Charter of Rights and Freedoms, all of our rights and freedoms are laid out in Section 2 of the Charter. Section 1 is the government's ability to limit our rights and freedoms to a quote-unquote reasonable degree.
Yeah.
And it's like, my God, that means we don't actually have any of the rights in our charter if they can be limited. Like, it's a joke. It's
No, definitely. I think, honestly, I'm not I'll say this, I'm not a big fan of the United States, simply because foreign policy and interventions and influence in country and support of countries like apartheid South Africa, and my family actively actually being against it, even though we benefited partly from it, or my grandparents benefited from it. My mother was nearly locked up for it, for instance, for being against the government. So I really have a problem with any country interfering with other countries' business, which the US happens to love doing. But the US Constitution really is one of the most beautiful written constitutions in the world, because it is simple and it guarantees the freedom of their citizens.
Yes. Yeah, it's practically magic. I've said it before that it's a magical document, and it's whatever. Like, you obviously have negative things you can say about the U.S., but that Constitution is one of the wonders of the modern world, right?
Oh, definitely. It can be as powerful as the United States would not have developed if not for that Constitution. And I understand why they defend it so viciously, because it is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. I'm misting a little bit.
Here's the freedom.
Yeah.
There's an eagle's call in the background.
Yeah. It was a terrible eagle cry.
Absolutely, but I couldn't do better, so we'll just leave that one standing.
Okay, so what's next?
I have no idea. Probably the end of civilization as we know it. Then again, what's next right now? I have no idea.
Yeah, no, now I'm at a loss. But hey, I want to say that you're doing great, eh? Like, for a first timer, yeah, no, you're blowing minds here. We've got 10 viewers. That's more than I usually get.
No, I'm just happy that people apparently think we're interesting enough to listen to and not decide to watch the latest Jake Paul video or
oh god,
watch the shameful YouTube Rewind video.
No, I just watched Dave Cullen shit on it. I love that stuff.
I don't know. I've stopped. You're really the only one that I still watch, to be very honest, out of that entire group. And the academic agent.
Who?
The academic agent, I think his name is. It's a really small YouTube channel. Stuff I checked, it was really small. Bigger than yours, but
well, sure, but you know.
No, but he's very much on open debate of his points more than Dave Cullen or Undoomed or.
Right, right.
So I really enjoy opportunity for debate more than simple pundits.
Hmm. On that note, another Canadian that you may be familiar with, Andy Worski.
Name yes, work no.
He's quite funny. He and Chris Worski. They're it's more like a comedy channel than a real political, like, yeah, punditry or whatever. But it's they do like to touch on, sensitive and controversial subjects. And he's actually started like a debate show because of the accusations from both sides that, oh, you're in an echo chamber, no, you're in an echo chamber. And he's like, fine, so come talk to me. And yeah, he's had a number of people on. I think they've done 2 or 3 shows now where they have people that absolutely disagree on everything sit down and talk.
Let me note that down quickly because that would be absolutely fantastic to look up sometime.
Yeah, and link me this academic agent if you can in the
Yes.
Discord afterwards, or whenever you get a chance, if you please.
Oh, definitely.
I'd
I
like to check it out.
I will gladly do that.
Because yeah, like, I mean, we can blow smoke up each other's asses all day. It's no good if we don't actually you know talk with the people with whom we disagree. That isn't necessarily debate. Is it dialectic?
I am not sure.
It basically means that, like, you say what you think and I say what I think, and we're probably both wrong, so we just keep saying the things we think until we sort of figure out what's real.
Oh yeah, I think you
Right.
mentioned that last week, on or the week beforehand on stream. Yeah, dialectic.
I think that's the word, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, no, I think also nowadays on the note of echo chambers, we all exist within a certain capacity within echo chambers because no one is going to actively seek out work that they disagree with. You're going to always prefer to watch someone you personally agree with. So even if you try to investigate the other side, you're probably going to tend towards one side, and that will become an echo chamber of sorts.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it as long as you're trying to take in the other position, even if it's only to, like, refute every point you can, you're still breaking the bubble. Like, it's always nice, yeah, to go home. But yeah, sometimes you got to go outside. And
Yeah.
that's as long as you do that occasionally, you are not officially a shut-in. You're not officially in an echo chamber.
If I may interject a piece of personal philosophy,
Mhm.
what opinions that one holds must be challenged. If you refuse to challenge your own opinions, you ought not debate them in public. Simply, opinions can only be proven by debate.
Oh yeah.
You have to be willing to change your opinions in a debate, and as long as you don't do that, I find your arguments have less credibility than a lot of than people's arguments that actually go out there and test them.
Yeah, yeah, like that's actually John Stuart Mill in the On Liberty essay says something like that, like, even if you're completely dead wrong, just being able to say a thing and have somebody else shoot it down is practice for shooting down bad arguments and incorrect positions, like things that aren't true. So there's always a value to it as well, right? That if it changes, even if it doesn't change somebody's mind, like if you go out there and say something like, I don't know, you say X and somebody says, X is incorrect, Y is the truth, and proves it, doesn't have to change your mind. It's value for everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it might just make you consider it from a different perspective as well and see
For sure.
parts of their validity, even if you disagree with them
Mm.
nonetheless.
but yeah, it's the ideas just do not grow if they aren't like if they aren't honed against something else, right?
Yeah, exactly. You need a whetstone to sharpen your ideas.
Yes, yes. 11 viewers, Justicar.
That's
That's huge for me.
hugely impressive.
Probably has something to do with being on at 7 p.m. instead of like 3 a.m.
5 in the morning.
Yeah.
Up until 7 in the morning. How do you bloody survive that? I'm knackered from about 10 in the evening onwards, mate.
No, because I actually have what's called a circadian rhythm disorder.
Oh, okay.
I'm practically nocturnal. So I have like an afternoons job, and but it's been very busy for the past couple of months now, and I haven't been able to stay up in the evenings to. That's why I've been limited to the weekends lately. Uh, so you know,
Yeah, no,
it's
I understand. I'm just always really impressed if I can wake up on Saturday mornings and I can 9 out of 10 times look forward to an Irving Twin stream when I wake up to have over breakfast and my daily grind.
hmm. Oh, and I think it's Rose here in the chat, uh, who occasionally will, if she misses the late show, she'll put it on in the morning while she's having a coffee and getting ready and shit.
No, honestly, listening to you, Burnside, the next 6 minutes, and everyone talk is absolutely fantastic. It's really one of my favorite things to do on a Saturday morning.
It's Saturday morning cartoons for adults. Hey, guys, if that's not what chaos is called tonight, I'm going to be very disappointed. Oh. So yeah. What the fuck is it? You know when pissed off Canadians show up, the world is going to shit.
I don't know, given I've never had much contact with Canadians, but that stereotype that all Canadians are polite and apologetic, how much truth does that hold in reality? I mean, Trudeau evidently is the stereotype.
No. Trudeau is like the caricature of the stereotype. I'll tell you this. Apparently, I think it was just last night, while I was angry and giving people shit in a stream, I said sorry twice and had no idea that I did it.
Okay.
Like that, yeah, and I'm the angry drunk Canadian who tells people to go kill themselves at the end of my video. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so you know.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
So it isn't too far-fetched.
No, not at all. Like, I mean, the problem is, and it's one of the reasons I'm sure that we get made fun of, is that people mistake our kindness for weakness. Right. And it's like Texas, where everybody's nice. I heard this story that somebody went to Texas and thought it was going to be, filled with like spitting rednecks and everything, and everyone was really nice everywhere he went. And he mentioned this to somebody, and someone with a big smile says, "Oh, we all have to be nice. Why is that? Because everybody has a gun." Right? So we're all very nice people because we've all seen what happens, like Bullrock says, when Canadians get pissed off. You know what I mean? They send 15,000 of them across the pond, and they storm the beach 5 hours before the Americans. Right.
And you actually, I think, more successfully than the Americans, if I remember correctly.
There was less resistance. I'm not going to lie about that. My sister actually, I shouldn't be doxing myself, took part in a History Channel doc called Juno Beach. And
Okay, wow.
yeah, they had some crazy stuff, the Canadians. Like, they had aquatic tanks that were basically in a balloon so that they could like come off the boats 100 feet from shore and just spin the tank treads to drive the tank in a bubble up to the beach. And the thing is, there was so much weight on the tank and not enough bubble that basically 1 2 foot wave would fill the whole bubble and sink the tank and everyone would die. But most of the tanks made it to shore. And another thing people don't know is that in World War II, on the Italian front, it was the Americans that marched into Rome victorious, but it was Canadian tanks that had done all the work from the southern tip of Italy up into Rome. Right? Canadian tank regiments were the force that took Italy. And then I can't remember which American general said, "Hey, do you mind if we just roll in first?" And Canadians went, "Sure, of course," because everyone's so fucking friendly, right? But yeah, like Canadians are nice because it's much better than being angry and drunk Canadians. We can raise a lot of hell, a disproportionate amount of hell.
Politeness and etiquette does never equate to weakness.
Mm.
It shows moral strength as well as can mask physical strength.
Mm.
Yes, I'm waxing philosophical, but it's 2 o'clock, so I think I'm excused on that front.
Okay, well, on that note, then I'm gonna let you get to bed.
Thank you, kind sir. That is most appreciated. Thank you for having me on. It was absolutely fantastic.
You know what? Anytime, except I don't think that's going to work very often because I'm usually not around at this time. And yeah, so unless you can find an early morning, if you get up at 8 o'clock, we'll probably still be live. I'm happy to have you jump in.
I wake up, on average, I'll sleep out today, but on average, I wake up between 7 and 8 every day, simply to get my work done. So I'm always up for your streams, pretty much.
Oh, perfect. So yeah, so we'll set up my late night, your early morning stream another time for sure. Because this was actually a lot of fun, very informative. Judging from the reactions in the chat here, people are liking it. So
that is extremely heartwarming.
No, not at all. If it is hard for you, it does not come off that way.
Heartwarming. It's extremely nice that people do actually find two random blokes rambling entertaining.
Yeah, that's what all radio shows and podcasts are, right?
Exactly.
Except some of them are more famous than us. That's all.
We'll get you there.
We'll get us there. We're all gonna make it.
I will gladly take that.
All right, well, Justicar, thanks for being on my show.
Thank you for having me on, Irving.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching, and good night.